Hello everybody, Raven Knight here. Today isn't a For Honor video, it's a Warhammer 40k video, and it's probably one that a lot of people aren't going to care about, but I did want to make this video. Of all the Warhammer 40,000 books that I've read, and I've read quite a few, one of the first I read, and still my all-time favorite series of books, is the Ciaphas Cain series by Sandy Mitchell. For those who haven't read it, the series is merely a data slate of memoirs written by the famous Commissar Ciaphas Cain, the hero of the Imperium. The data slate is shared and disseminated by Inquisitor Amberley Vail of the Ordo Xenos, who had a long-standing friendship with Cain and shared many adventures with him. It is from her dissemination of Cain's memories that we learn several unique truths about Cain. First and foremost is that Cain was a scoundrel and a self-seeking rogue, a self-interested coward who used his wits, natural ability to evade danger, and outstanding charismatic personality to weasel and worm his way out of various scenarios that always managed to leave him bloody, bruised, but always alive, and always appearing as though he had shown nothing short of true nobility, courage, and distinction. While the galaxy hailed him as a noble and selfless paragon of imperial loyalty and strength and truth, it is more of a series of accidental and bumbling successes that left him looking far more heroic and noble than he likely was. Now, for those of you who haven't read it, I highly recommend it. If you're brand new to the Warhammer 40k fandom and looking for a good book to read or an audiobook to read, the series is very down-to-earth, well-paced, easily digestible. It's just a fun all-around time. I do highly recommend it. And the audiobook is so well voice-acted. It's the first way that I got to read it, and though I own a paperback copy, I do highly recommend either audiobook or physical copy of this book. It's funny, engaging, a great read all around. However, what we're here to talk about today is not just to gush about the book. There's one aspect about Cain's story that has been a topic of debate for me and a few other fans of the series. So it is revealed in the book series that Cain and Amberly, the Inquisitor annotating his memories for us, shared more than a professional relationship. Indeed, Amberly makes a few references to them having shared beds together, and though it's never specifically stated in the books, it's very easily surmised that they have had sex. So, the question is, if their relationship went beyond professional, did Amberley Vail truly love Ciaphas Cain? Cain himself has revealed on numerous occasions that he had feelings for Amberley. Such as in the third book of the series, The Traitor's Hand, Cain confronted a Slaaneshi witch who had the power to form an illusion around herself to make herself appear to others as the one they love the most. And when Cain saw her, he saw Amberley Vail. His feelings for her are almost certainly genuine, and we know that he's far more honest in his own memoirs than anywhere else in his life. So we can take this to mean that Cain was genuine about his feelings for Amberley. But what about her? Did she have feelings for Cain? Now, you might think that this is an obvious answer, but many people have stated that Amberley Vail may have liked Cain, but there was no love involved. The typical statement I hear is this, quote, Amberley saw Cain the way she sees everyone, a tool to be used. When she met him on Gravelax, she only wanted to use him to reveal the truth of the Genestealer cult by having him lead a detachment of guardsmen underground. Only after she learned that Caiaphas' aide, Gunner Jurgen, was a psychic blank, did she see him as even more useful. Any interest she showed in Cain was purely a performance she put on to make him compliant, as Inquisitors do all the time. In truth, she was only interested in Jurgen's psychic abilities, and Caiaphas merely came along with that package. Today, what I want to do briefly in this video is I want to state firmly and without reservation that I find this to be bullshit. I am firmly in the camp that Vail loved Cain just as much as he loved her. And I will provide evidence, of course, but this is something I did really want to talk about because me and Lark have been talking about it for a while. So, let's get into it. First, let's address the argument that she only ever was interested in Jurgen's psychic abilities. For those who don't know, Jurgen is the officer who accompanies Cain everywhere, his aide essentially, and while kind of dim, not overly bright, and very overly literal in everything he does, Jurgen has one private gift. He is a psychic blank. A psychic blank means that his very presence nullifies demonic and warp sorcery, meaning that psychic enemies or demons can't affect him. It's a very rare and very useful ability, and of course, Amberley was interested to make use of it. Now, when she revealed this to Cain at the end of the first book, Cain immediately assumed that she was going to take Jurgen with her, but she declined, saying it wasn't safe. She argues that bringing around a blank would attract attention to her from other Inquisitors who would be interested in him themselves. It would be safer to leave Jurgen under Cain's care, where she could easily find him if she needed him. This to some is evidence that Jurgen is all she cared about, and she's just wanting Cain to babysit him for her. But that's not what I see. I see it as a convenient excuse to see Cain again. Think about this. Amberly is an Inquisitor, and even though she may not trust her fellow Inquisitors, there's not a lot they can do to her because of some of the other retinue she has around her. If Amberly really only wanted Jurgen, then she would make allowances for him. She'd find a way to get him on her team. She's resourceful enough to do it, and she has employed and manipulated plenty of odd and unconventional people before. Now, I believe that she found Jurgen useful, true, but he wasn't her only interest with Cain. Actually, if you reread the first book and really analyze how the two talk and speak to one another before she knows about Jurgen, you get the feeling she admires Cain because she recognizes how similar they are. Consider how they first met. In the first book, Cain had been invited to a ball at the governor's mansion on Gravelax. Amberly was already there, playing the role of a ballroom singer. After her song was done, she went onto the dance floor to meet and dance with Cain. She didn't need to do this. It had nothing to do with her mission, even if she already had planned to use him from the very start. Instead, she wanted to actually meet Cain, learn about him, and in doing so, revealed a curiosity. This is personal opinion of mine, but bear with me. Amberly is a master of reading people. She knows how to see through lies because she's been lying her whole life as part of her profession, so she knows Cain isn't the man everyone sees him as. But that fascinates her. Who is Ciaphas Cain? Who is the hero of the Imperium? What kind of man is he? Is he a man she can use? Is he a man of no virtue or possibly even heretical inclination? Or is he someone more? And what she learns is that Cain and her have a great deal in common. He too is a gifted liar and master of reading people. And so, I think, in him, she saw a kindred spirit. Someone outside the Inquisition who she thought might be someone like herself, someone who understood the pressure she feels on herself. Maybe at first she wasn't aiming for romance, but I have no doubt it eventually blossomed. There are also a few other pieces of evidence. For example, remember me mentioning earlier Ciaphas Cain's encounter with a Slaaneshi witch. Like I said, the Slaaneshi witch had the ability to appear to others as if she were someone that they loved dearly. Cain admits this. He says, quote, "She was a witch, I told him, keeping things as simple as I could. She did something to our minds, made us see. I made what I assumed at the time to be the obvious deductive leap, but which Malden later confirmed was a known power of Slaaneshi psychers. Someone we care about." Amberly made a little annotated note about this, and she said, quote, "Which for Cain was positively effusive, and I must admit, rather gratifying." She was gratified. She was glad that when Cain looked at a Slaaneshi witch and saw the person he loved the most, it was her. That made her happy. Why would she care? If he's just a tool for her to use, why was she gratified? It shouldn't matter, should it? I think on a certain degree, maybe she wouldn't openly admit it, but I think that she was very, very glad that she had met Cain and was very much in love with him. Now, of course, there are going to be plenty of people out there who might argue otherwise or would take some of my proof and try to wave it away. Like that very proof right there. Is she really gratified that Cain is in love with her because she loves him, or is she just glad that he loves her so that he's still a convenient tool? Well, maybe they have a point. But I think the ultimate proof that she loved Cain isn't anything that Cain said in his books. You don't need to read the books to see that she loved Cain. All you need to do is know that the books exist. The books themselves are evidence of her love. Think about this. The dissemination of the memoirs themselves is the proof. Cain says, and Amberly agrees, that these memoirs could never be published. Cain has experienced too much and been privy to way too many secrets. The things he's written in these memoirs are too extensive and revealing. The Inquisition would burn them before letting them see the light of day. He gave them to Amberly before his death, knowing that she would be the only one who ever could read them. Now Amberly decides to disseminate, annotate, and share these memoirs with her fellow Inquisitors. Why? Well, she claims it's purely academic. Cain's experiences open a wider door for understanding and study. He's crossed swords with every enemy of humanity, uncovered truths and mysteries that the Inquisition could make note of, and it's amusing to think that a hero of the Imperium was always a self-centered rogue underneath it all. That's her reasoning. But is that really the reason? Maybe Amberly's been lying so long, she started lying to herself. Consider this. Amberly admits it takes long periods of her free time to read and annotate the data slate. She spends considerable periods of time reading, studying, and annotating. But why? For what purpose? Why would she bother? If Cain was someone that was only a tool for her after he passed away, she could very easily just skim through the books, find the parts she thinks will be useful, and share it. Or, better yet, she could just seal it up, throw it in a cupboard, and never worry about it again. Because nothing Cain uncovers is galaxy shaking. Nothing she uncovers is going to change the whole world of the Imperium. I mean, sure, some of what she finds is interesting, it's useful, but it's nothing groundbreaking. So why bother? She spends long periods of time reading these, and not just reading, annotating, commenting, speculating, even researching. She does follow-up research on several things that Cain brings up. In fact, she brings in testimonials, books, excerpts, news articles, recordings, all having to do with the wider context of what Cain was dealing with. She pours her free time into this, and it can't just be for entertainment value. I think there's another reason. I think she misses Cain. Amberly reveals that Cain passed away in his sleep, and I think she misses him. She may deny it, but the memoirs are her connection to Cain, and reading them is like hearing his voice again, being near him again, hearing the man she always found so fascinating. I think somewhere deep down behind her own layers of lies, trickery, and suspicion is a woman who misses the man she fell in love with. True, I don't think that Amberly was outright looking for love on Gravelax. I don't think that she ever thought that she and Cain would be anything more than maybe, a team for a temporary outing, maybe even friends. But I think it turned into more than that. And of course, there are going to be those out there who say, oh, come on, Inquisitors manipulate people all the time. She was just manipulating Cain. Two things to that. The first is, Cain is no stranger to manipulation himself. I'm sure he would have seen the manipulation and eventually would have grown weary of it. And two, let's be honest with ourselves here. If all Cain was to her was a tool, why would she get in bed with him, not once, not twice, but apparently numerous times? Amberly makes reference that she had memories of him waking up in his sleep a couple of times. That implies they have shared beds numerous times. You don't normally spend that much time with someone you only see as a tool. Also, there's apparently evidence of times that she's called Cain to help her with projects where Jurgen was not involved. If she only was interested in Jurgen's abilities, she wouldn't have cared about bothering with Cain anyway. She saw something in Cain. Something useful, yes, but also someone that I think she connected to and resonated with. Cain was not an Inquisitor, but he lived and acted in a manner that is similar to Inquisitors, behind lies and masks and deceit. But underneath it all was a mystery, a man who wasn't even entirely sure who he was meant to be. And maybe Amberly wanted to solve that riddle, to find out who Cain really was. And when she saw who Cain really was, she didn't see a despicable, sniveling coward who only got by on sheer dumb luck. She saw a hero of the Imperium. He just didn't realize it in himself. And when she realized what kind of man Cain actually was behind it all, I think she fell head over heels for him. Of course, being an Inquisitor, there's not a lot she can do about that. But anytime she could get away with him, I'm sure she took it. And of course, all of this is just my speculation. Do with it what you will. And I know that this was just a meaningless little video from a hopeless romantic looking at a hopeless romance in a hopeless galaxy, but I still enjoyed talking about it. In fact, my friend Hannah wanted me to write a potential story where Cain and Amberly have a daughter named Caitlin Cain. And that has been a very fun little series of stories that I've written for her. But anyway, I'll go ahead and wrap up the video here. I know that this wasn't For Honor related. I know that this was kind of out there, but I just wanted to make this video. Sometimes I just got to make something that I'm really, really passionate about, and this is something that I really wanted to talk about. Anyway, thank you guys so much, and as always, I will see you in my next video. Take care.